the only thing we can do is delete the whole of your system. So we're going to have to give you the strongest chemotherapy we can give you without killing you.
Sorry, delete the whole of your system.
The whole of the blood system, yeah.
Delete it?
Yeah, completely delete it and reset. That's how they explained it.
Yeah, my first degree is in genetics, my master's degree is in oncology, and my PhD is in immunology, and I specialised in genetic injections and other injections, which is why I'm a whistleblower and have been speaking out.
Hello, welcome to the Mark Outward Show, Adventures in the Cosmic Suit. How are you doing? It's a beautiful day here. We were promised -5, -10, snow all week, but actually it's kind of 0 and sunny and lovely. The town that I live in is plagued by roadworks, which is why I'm late for this recording and late for most recordings, because in fact I've hardly been able to do any recordings because we just opened a shop, a health and wellness store and hydrogen bar in the middle of Boyle and Roscommon in Ireland, which of course you're all welcome to come to. Yes, and we've got an event on the 1st of December, Harry Rhodes Live, which is going to be extraordinary. We've got 5 hours plus of Harry doing live blood analysis and talking about the effects of the ether, which we have much to tell, and of course the incredible effects of negative ions in the blood and the water. The water is one of my favorite subjects because without good water, not just in us, but on our skin, we are screwed. Also, I've been drinking this recently. These are called, I call these chi balls. What these balls do is they give off energy. You can actually see it. Chi energy. And no, they're not for sale yet. Before you ask, where can I get them? But we're getting them shipped in. They're actually made in Korea. And these have profound effects on healing. I've seen people in warm baths full of these balls that, with, terminal diagnosis, leukemia and stuff, and they just get up and walk out. Maybe 3 months later in some cases, but we're going to be looking at adding these to the local water supply, which will be interesting. But yeah, this is quite amazing. Yeah, it's been an interesting week. We're on the verge of nuclear war. Or are we? That's not the real Putin. That's not the real Zelensky. Trump has multiple doubles. That's not the real Biden. What's going on? Well, one of the things that was interesting for me this week was when my favorite car brand, Jaguar, came out woke and gay, which was really fucking annoying. But I did do a video about this yesterday on Twitter, which you can go watch here if you feel like it. Did somebody miss a meeting at Jaguar? I was quite pleased with that video because ultimately it's like, since the last 20 years or so, the number of celebrities and brands that have come out as massive satanic pedophiles, or whatever that one's called, Balenci, I can't remember how to say it. What's the other one? I saw somebody, Abercrombie and Fitch, all these big brands, right? Turns out they're all part of the child trafficking network. Who knew? Who knew? Well, I did quite a lot. And I've been trying to tell people for years. But now it's coming out in the mainstream. The character, whoever's playing Elon Musk, is doing an amazing job for waking people up and going to war with the British government over their crazy policies. I do think they're under the control of the good guys, but I do think nuclear war is something that is very likely to appear to happen, or at least people are going to think it's going to happen, because like the Jaguar branding, it's all about letting go. Everything's about letting go. It's a concept that I learned years ago as part of the forgetting all my worms today, as part of the Jesus, literally forgotten. Anyway, letting go is something, as a concept, I first came across 10-15 years ago, and I was putting memes out. I've said this before on the show about we have to let go, we have to let go. I didn't really understand what it meant until I was at the lowest ebb that I've ever been at, which is about 7 years ago. And I literally got told, you've got to let go of everything. And, Jaguar is just part of that. Doctor Who was part of that. Star Wars was part of that. All these celebrities, the kids now, the kids, the teenagers are talking about satanic stuff because of P. Diddy and all of that stuff, which I think ultimately is good, right? It's might be a little bit scary to some people, but actually I'm chilled out, and just focusing on the mission. And the mission is to heal as many people as possible and to bring as much knowledge as possible to the table. And a lot of that knowledge starts with water. It always starts with water. It has done since I started this show. I started talking about lots of different ways of filtering water, getting clean water, getting energized water. And there's tons of different ways. And, you know, we've tried to boil it down. See what I did there? We've tried to boil it down to the simplest, cheapest ways of doing it. These chi balls are going to be part of that process. They're not actually called chi balls. That's my nickname for them. And I will do a show about those separately in the near future. So don't be asking questions about that at the moment, because I can't tell you much more at the moment. But, you know, Harry Rhodes spinning bottle. Okay, it's hand built. It's a little bit fragile. Sometimes bits fall off it, but it has incredible results. The same as adding hydrogen to the water. The same as adding electrolytes. If you are unsure about why you should have good salt in your water every time you drink it, and in fact, if you don't, you're dehydrating yourself, go to the markoutwardshow.com, type in Ian Clark, find all the videos I did with Ian Clark. The one I did on hydration, might have to type in the word hydration. That video tells you everything you need to know about why we have to have electrolytes and minerals in our clean, structured, living water. That is the key to all of this. So I met a couple of amazing people recently, Dr. Joe Whittaker and Kelly Hindson, who are joining me today to talk about water and other things. How you doing, girls?
Thank you, Mark.
Yeah, good, thank you.
Nice to see you both. Let's do an introduction. Joe, you go first.
Hi, I'm Dr. Joe Whittaker. You've probably heard me speak about detoxing and all things to do with that, and water. And we've been on a massive water journey. I met this lady earlier on this year, and together we've combined our knowledge and our experience. And the more that we're working with water, the more that we're finding out. So we're going to share some knowledge today, which is going to blow your minds.
Ooh, that sounds good. That's a big promise. Hi, Kelly. How you doing?
Hi, good, thank you. So I'm Kelly from Birmingham. Originally a swim coach, so all based around water, and I've been working with water for the last few years, as well as lots of other bits of magic that we add to water. So it'd be really interesting to talk to everyone and share that with you.
Fantastic. Thanks for the intros. Right, where are we going to go first, Joe?
Well, I think we should just discuss what you've just said, which I think is a phenomenal introduction to water, you know, and we're going to break some things down today. And actually, if anybody's got a pendulum and a glass of...
I've got one.
Oh, well done, Mark. And a glass of tap water.
Oh, I've got one.
Then you'll be able to join in with the experiment a little bit later on. Because
later on, okay.
Yeah. So we'll do this a little bit later on, because what we've realized, you know, there's all these different names, like the structure of water is describing its hexagonal shape, but actually that's charged water. So it becomes structured because it is charged. And hydrogen has two states of spin. It's either spinning clockwise or it's spinning anti-clockwise. But it's spinning clockwise, it is negatively charged. This is what you need. When it's spinning anti-clockwise, it doesn't. You can measure the overall spin of the molecules of water, which are found in, remember, H2O or hydrogen and oxygen is basically found in any matter. You'll find water. But water, you can measure whether your water is positively or negatively charged. And negatively charged means it's good for us because they've inverted everything, right? So we'll do some experiments on that. But we're also going to talk about bringing in Kelly, who I call Kelly 2.0, because we bring in the natural frequencies of the earth, which you are part of. The earth is basically source information, the organic earth template grid. And when you bring these frequencies into your biofield, they resonate at the frequencies within inside you and grows your auric field or biofield massively. So we're adding this extra dimension. We're basically amplifying the natural frequencies within people, which helps them heal, protects them from EMF and all sorts of other things.
Yeah, well, all sorts of other things. What are they?
Well, we can, if you imagine that everything is in nature, everything you can possibly imagine, like pain relief, like focus, like the secrets of the universe. And Kelly will probably talk about that in her story. We've got 2 frequencies which we put in our quantum water chargers. So a little example, is these little stickers. They've got a little.
Let me just make you bigger on the screen.
I've got on my bottom as well.
Okay, so if you look at this on the screen, you can see there's a picture there. That's done the Vader Austin way. That is a picture of the frequency of comfort and ease, which is pain relief. And it also has the frequency embedded within this toroidal field. And that is a toroidal. That toroidal field is printed with high quality carbon-based ink. And carbon is the structure. So whenever you see these mandalas and you're looking at the frequency, carbon has a frequency, hydrogen has a frequency, and oxygen has a frequency, and they've all got harmonics. So when you're looking like all of these geometries around, usually the geometries relate to the carbon, and then within that structure, you are putting frequencies. So it's exactly like, imagine I'm playing a recorder and I'm just going to maybe one note. If I play that note in a square room, it's going to sound different than if I played it in a cathedral. If I then add information, so maybe add the Morse code, which is what, I don't know, right? That's information within a frequency, within the carbon structure. And that is how all matter is made up. And we have taken advantage of that to be able to put frequencies that are beneficial, such as pain relief, one's called naturally high vibrations, love, and all these kind of frequencies, which we'll give you one tonight, which is about relaxation and rest. So hopefully if you watch this at the night time, you can rest. Please don't listen to this and do this experiment if you're going to drive, because it will make you sleepy.
Am I going to fall asleep in the middle of this podcast? Narcolepsy. Right. I just want to say to the viewers, right, you're probably already going, where can I get one of them? Right. There's a website here and there's a code for you to get a discount on that. So I'm just saying that at the beginning, because I know people will be like going to have a look at it while they're talking to us. Just explain what that is quickly, and then we'll repeat it later. I'll put the link underneath the video as well.
Yeah, so it's crystalwaterexperience.com. We've got the quantum water charges, which you put on the water. You can put it wherever water flows, it goes. So you can put it on your taps, you can put it on your jug. And we've done experiments all around the summer that shows the expansion of people's biofields. And once you are charged up, you can actually transfer that to other people. And we proved this. We did this. Sorry, carry on.
No, I was going to say, so that's why I mentioned it to the viewers now, because they're seeing the website there. They're going to say, where do I get one of those? And we'll talk about this in more depth. But one of the reasons why I got the ladies on today is because I met them in Birmingham a few weeks ago, and we did this experiment in a pub, and it blew me away. And that's what hopefully we're going to do today, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes, we're going to do that. And the code is MarkAtwood20.
Is that uppercase, lowercase? Does that matter?
I don't think it matters actually, but do
okay. So if you want to get one of those in the checkout, watch the rest of the show first. But in the checkout, put MarkAtwood20 to get 20% off. The other thing I was going to say is you two are coming to Ireland, correct?
Yes, we are.
Okay. So you're going to be here for Harry's talk.
Yeah.
Yes.
And you
1st of December,
bring a load of these. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
I hope so. Yes, it is. Sunday the 1st of December. So you're coming to Boyle. You're gonna bring a load of these over for us to put in our shop, aren't you?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah. Brilliant. Great. Okay, that's all that covered. Carry on, Joe or Kelly, whoever wants to talk now.
Yeah, carry on, Joe.
Well, actually, I was going to bring you in now, Kelly, just to maybe just explain a little bit about your background and how you got the ability to be able to bring in these codes, source codes, organic code, template grid codes.
I will do. Okay, so thank you, Joe. You always say that so beautifully. So I always leave it to Joe because she's much better at explaining it than me. So I went through a really traumatic illness, really rare illness that was went on for many years. So I was disabled with it. I lost the ability to walk. My feet and legs went numb. And this spurred a journey of 4 years, being wrongly diagnosed with something that they were treating me for, that basically swelled up my brain and caused optic nerve damage as well. So they were prescribing the wrong thing. So I had to
Does that mean you were going blind?
Yeah, I was going blind. Yeah.
You were going blind. Could you mind if I ask how old you were when this happened?
I was 32 when it first started. Yeah.
Wow.
32. So I'm 43 now. So wrongly diagnosed for the 4 years. When they discovered what was wrong with me, it's only because I was so persistent in saying you are missing something. Like, no, you just got to learn to deal with your disability, have this medication, have this treatment, have da-da-da-da. I thought, you're missing something. And I literally went to Asda one day, and I used to go blind anyway when I used to pick things up, and everything was failing. My body was just completely, it was just failing. So the going blind thing, I kind of missed it. It's so strange because I said to my husband, like, when you pick something up off the floor, do you go blind when you stand up? And he went, no. I went, I do. So anyway, so I was going blind, and I went blind in Asda for quite a long time. Went to pick something up, went blind, and it never come back. I was like, oh my God. Started screaming. I was like, someone needs to help me. And then that spurred the actual diagnosis then to happen, because I refused to leave the hospital. My vision did come back, and they found that my brain was so swollen, my optic nerves were breaking, and they said I needed an emergency eye operation, but I wouldn't have it. So they had to check my eyes every hour for a month. So I had no sleep. I was in hospital for a month. And but that it was also linked to the illness as well that I had. So the diagnosis was something called POEMS syndrome eventually, which is very POEMS syndrome, yeah.
Poems, as in poetry.
Yeah. It was an acronym for everything that was going wrong, basically.
Kelly, you just said you were in a hospital for a whole month and they checked your eyes every hour for a month.
Yep.
That's unbelievable torture.
It was horrendous.
Kelly went through absolute torture.
She's saying it really quickly. Like, I just pause and think about what that is.
Yeah, sorry. Like, I didn't know how quickly I had to get through it.
No, you don't. No rush.
Okay, yeah. So they had to check me every hour because the optic nerves were that swollen. They said if they blow, you will be blind. So they were checking me every hour. Then it went. They were like, we can do it every hour and a half now, and that felt like I was on holiday, an hour and a half. I had to have bone marrow biopsies. They did a full body scan on me, and they said that there's something on your lung. We're going to do we need to take a biopsy of it. I was like, okay. I thought I was going to be asleep at this time, but I wasn't. They put things down my mouth and got bits off my lung, and they just said, we don't know what's causing this. And then all of a sudden, I remember a doctor come to my door, and they said, okay, so don't Google it, but we're thinking we know what you've got now. I was like, what? They said it's called POEMS syndrome. I was like, okay. So they said it's an acronym for everything that's going wrong with you. She said, but only 500 people in the world have ever had it, but you've got a version of it that we've never ever seen. I was like, okay. So the P was the peripheral neuropathy in my legs. I couldn't walk. I was on crutches and wheelchairs for many years. The O was my organs were enlarged. My liver and spleen were absolutely massive, and that wasn't picked up for ages. The E was the endocrine system. I had Addison's disease, thyroid. I'd not had periods for like 2 or 3 years, and that was just a mess. The M was myeloma, which was the blood cancer, and then the S was skin changes. So my skin was I was going patchy. I had like hyperpigmentation, and then I had loads of hair on. I'm not a hairy person, or never have been, but I had like hair growing here on my arms, on my legs. It was just ridiculous. But there was also other things that I had which they'd never seen before. So they said, you've potentially got something that no one's ever had, so we're going to have to treat it like you've got POEMS. But when I checked on Google, when they told me not to, they said people that have this have about a 4-year life expectancy, and I was on year 4.
Whoa.
I was like, what the hell? My kids at the time, when it first started, they were only 6 and 4. By this time, they were like 8 and 10, I think. So they just said, okay, so what we can do. I said, okay, so you can cure it, then you know what it is. He went, yeah, but it's not that easy to cure. So what we've got to do is when they tested my bone marrow, they said that my bone marrow was so pure it was like a teenager's. They said they'd never seen anything like it. It was just like so clear. They said, so your bone marrow's fine, because when the blood comes out of the bone marrow, then it forms its individual cells of what it needs. He said, but so what happened was the bone marrow come out of your bones, copied a rogue cell that was obviously very strong, and every single blood vessel after that over time was just copying it and copying it and copying it till my whole body was failing. So they said, the only thing we can do is delete the whole of your system. So we're going to have to give you the strongest chemotherapy we can give you without killing you.
Sorry, delete the whole of your
whole,
system.
The whole of the blood system, yeah.
Delete it?
Yeah, completely delete it and reset. That's how they explained it.
What was
Delete
the doctor's name? Klaus Schwab.
What
was the doctor's?
I know, yeah.
And of course, Kelly's explaining this, and obviously she's alive, and she'll go through this next bit now. But what they told her is, it is kind of 3D
but you didn't
nonsense.
say your background, Joe. Actually, you should explain that.
Yeah, my first degree is in genetics, my master's degree is in oncology, and my PhD is in immunology, and I specialised in genetic injections and other injections, which is why I'm a whistleblower and have been speaking out. And so when Kelly was explaining this to me, I was listening going, this doesn't make any sense, especially since I've left all of that kind of nonsense behind. And to say that you're going to destroy your immune system, which is the only thing that's going to help you, is just nonsense, and it's not, by the way, it's not curable. It just gives you a little bit of extra time, if it does anything at all.
And that's the thing, it wasn't curable. And they just said you'd have to have another transplant after this. So they take enough cells to do 2. So I was like, right. So when we're going to do it, he says, well, we've got to prepare for the chemotherapy. We've got to give you the strongest that we can give you without killing you. And then we're going to give you your cells back the next day.
That's nice of them.
I know. So I went through that. It was about 6 months later. They have to do all this preparing with chemotherapy tablets and steroids and all the rest of it. I mean, I wasn't awake at all at that time. I just thought I was doing the best thing.
What year was it?
This was 2016 when it got to the right diagnosis. It was 2013 at the beginning. So I had the transplant, had the chemotherapy, which was absolutely horrific. It only lasted for 15 minutes. And they said within 15 minutes, you're going to be wetting yourself. You'll be possibly being sick. You might pass out. But it's all normal. All normal. We're just poisoning you. And there was a point where I was sitting on the bed and my mum was sitting next to me. And they basically said, if you don't have this, I didn't have very long left, and you could tell I looked absolutely horrendous. So it was either die of the illness, potentially die of the chemotherapy anyway. And I said to them, what happens if my stem cells don't work the following day? And the doctor just says, oh, well, we'll have a different conversation. I was like, what the fuck? Like, it was just said like that. So I was sitting on the edge of the bed. The kids were there and my husband was there. And I just said to my husband, just send the kids out a minute. I literally sat on that bed. I said to my mum, I was like, I feel like I'm committing suicide. And she went, but you don't have a choice, Kel, you've got to do it. I was like, I know. Anyway, chemotherapy went in fine. The cells, the stem cells the next day. That was another panic because they weren't going in because all my veins had collapsed. But then there was a point in the hospital bed. It was on the 4th of July, which was my birthday. And I was lying in bed and I thought, there's no way I can be this ill and still be alive. It just wasn't possible. And I know I needed a blood transfusion because they had to keep giving them me because I had no blood left until my bone marrow started to make its own. And I was lying in the bed, and this was kind of the point of where it started to kind of turn. I was lying in the bed and my mum was sitting at the side of me, and I said, Mum, if I go to sleep, I'm going to die. She went, you're not, Kel, this is how it's meant to be. You know, your blood's all, it's dying now. This is how you're meant to feel, blah, blah, blah. Again, trusting all the doctors and stuff. And I went to sleep, and there was like a massive missing part of time. I literally felt like I'd been asleep for 30 seconds. And it'd been 5 hours. And I just said, I'm not dead, when I woke up. And she was like, no, Cal, you're alive. And it was just something in me knew that I was going to be okay. So I was meant to be in hospital for like 6 weeks. And after that, I was out of hospital in 2.5 weeks. And by 4 weeks, I was driving to the beach with my kids. But bearing in mind, I was still being sick constantly every day for 6 months. I was stopping in the car, being sick, then going back on the road to the beach. I wasn't letting anything stop me. And no one could believe how I'd recovered. But what I didn't do was take any of the medication that they give me that apparently was going to keep me alive. So they said, here's your big bag of medication. If you don't take this within 24 hours, this will happen and that will happen. Because I had this Addison's disease, which is with the hormones basically in the body. And if you don't take the steroids to balance them out, it does kill you. So I just knew that I was going to be fine. So as soon as I got in, I didn't tell any of my family. I just put the medication in the bin. And I was like, I know I'm going to be fine. I need my body to have a chance. So that's what I did. And then as the weeks went on, went for my checks and everything, they were like, yeah, you're doing really well, actually. I'm really surprised how well you're doing. Here's your next bag of medication. I was like, I don't need it. And they were like, huh? You've run out now. I said, I haven't took it since the day you give it me. And they were like, what? So as the journey's gone on, it wasn't until I met Jo, actually. She said, Cal, do you understand how lucky you are to be alive? And I was like, I don't know. I'm just getting on with it. Do you know what I mean? It's just me. And she went, you have the 1% chance of surviving that chemotherapy anyway. So let alone myeloma. No one cures from myeloma, especially the one that you had. I'm like, oh, okay. I just do my thing. So that seemed to unlock. So that was that part. But then the Kelly 2.0, what Jo calls me, I started to unlock things that I didn't know, which is I became a healer, which I don't like to say that because everyone's a healer, but I had these healing abilities that I couldn't really explain. I'd never felt energy before, and that did panic me. That was a big journey of kind of going for tests again and things, because I felt like I was being pulled out of my body and feeling these things in my hand and all sorts. Found out I could had this healing ability. Did lots and lots of things in lockdown and healing ceremonies, and what the police started to shut down and all that, but didn't have it, kept it open, and started to be able to do a thing called automatic writing just randomly. I didn't even know what it was. When I was doing a meditation one day, had this urge to pick up a pen, and my hand started to move by itself, and I was like, what the fuck is that? And I did it again, and like a dog with a bone, I needed to know what I was doing. And it started to form words eventually, but it was just like little squiggles and frequency lines and things. And I was just like, what is this? So dive deep in that for a couple of years, and was able to go into people's past lives, find out the root cause of the illnesses, find the soul's purpose. And I mean, millions of years back. I don't mean like just a few hundred years back. I mean, I'll go back to the very first lifetime when there were an energy source on so-and-so planet, if I ask. And I found out that if I ask anything, I'll get the answer. But what I wasn't doing was I wasn't connecting to anything outside of myself. I wasn't connecting to the guides and the angels and all the rest of that, what people connect to. I was just connecting to me. I would just be like, okay, so come on then, DNA, let's unlock and let's see what can come through. And let's lock onto this other person, that like the man or the woman, the soul, not the guide or the angel or anything. And I realized that we don't need to reach outside of ourselves whatsoever. I don't even say it's my higher self, because I don't bring anything in. It's just in me. So as the journey went on with the frequencies, every reading that I did for people, they would come through. I'd always ask, like, what is the highest vibration this person, this human is on? And what's their highest vibration of their soul? What are they on? So it brings through, say, like the frequency of God's source consciousness would come through. That used to come through quite a bit. And so I knew I was resonating on a frequency that was a good frequency, basically. Do the reading. And I thought, what else can I do with this frequency? Like, it can't be just so they know that. It's got to be for something. So I started to do bits of experiments and found when you put these frequencies into water, it would change the frequency of the water, and it would start to heal like headaches and pains and things like that. So that's what I told my clients to do. Just put your water on there and just see if it helps you. And the feedback was just phenomenal. So I thought, okay, so this isn't just for the person. This can help people heal. So I launched a Facebook page called Challenge Me to Be Pain Free, where I channel a frequency for people to embed into the water, so then they can use it as kind of not pain medication as such, but help them to relax if they've got a headache, on the pets, on the dogs, on the food, on whatever. I mean, it's all done via Zoom. It's amazing. So when I met Jo in the summer, she was on one of my Zoom calls, and after she went, I've never seen anything like that. That's amazing. Can we talk after? And I said, yeah, of course. And we found out we've got like a mutual friend, really good friend, both of our really good friend. And she was just like, I can't believe, our friend was saying, I can't believe that I haven't put you two together. You're both amazing, both into water. Like, what the hell? So, and ever since then, we've like teamed the most perfect team, because Jo comes with the science, I come with the other side of it, and it just gels really well. So what we're doing now is embedding the frequencies into our products, which are helping people protect from the Biofield EMFs from the phone. It's harmonizing the radiation that's coming in. It's not blocking it, because you can't block EMF. It's just harmonizing the harmful radiation that's coming in. And then we also do the same thing with water. So, yeah, it's been quite a journey. But before all this, I became a bit of an inventor. So this is how it all started. Been making the EMF shields for about 5 years myself. Made healing blankets and things to put in your bed to bring in the life force energy and to activate your life force energy, because I unlocked things that I never knew. I didn't know any of this stuff. It's just stuff that used to come to me, and I'd be like, okay, I'll try that. And then in my brain, it made sense. But if anyone asked me to explain it, I would never be able to explain it. But I just did it, and I just knew it was going to work. So when I met Jo, she comes with the scientific side of it. I'm like, yes, of course. So I listen to all these podcasts now with all these really in-depth scientists. I couldn't explain it, but I understand it like I've been doing it all my life. It's very strange.
No, it's very interesting, because you actually did have a reset.
Yeah, absolutely.
But it was a divine reset.
Yeah, 100%. And a lot of my memories are missing as well, you see. So my daughter I've got two daughters. I mean, they're 18 and nearly 18 and 16 now. But I don't remember my youngest being a baby till about 3.
Whoa.
I don't remember. When I look at pictures, I know it's me, and I know that's a picture taken of me, but I don't connect the memory. And I feel like I'm making up a memory that's not actually there.
Are you a walk-in?
That's always another theory as well. I don't know. But as a place I used to work at, I worked there for 9 years. I can barely remember it. That's where I met my husband. I can remember little tiny bits. And if someone mentions it, I'm like, I can remember where I worked, my seat, my desk, but I can't remember the building. I can't remember what it looked like. It's so strange. And it was a massive part of my life. So, yeah. A lot of people have said that. You're a walk-in. I'm like, maybe.
Well, it doesn't really matter, does it? At the end of the day, you've got this incredible thing. And I'm saying to the viewers, I've met both of these two, and Kelly's the picture of health.
Yeah.
You wouldn't believe that she's been through this stuff.
No, never. You wouldn't.
Would you?
No, never. Never.
It was definitely a absolutely magical experience. Something divine happened, because when you look at all of those diseases, bearing in mind how much the drugs had ravaged her over the last 5 years. I mean, this woman was like she was a gym bunny, absolutely addicted to exercise before this happened.
Yeah.
But then she was like a slave to the pharmaceutical system. And I just keep saying to her, I said, you are a different person. This is not possible with 3D.
Even my eyes change colour, Mark. That's another strange thing. They were brown and now they're like hazel green.
Kelly 2.0.
That's the same colour as mine. And I had I nearly died of meningitis when I was a kid, but they said it was inflammation of the brain. So that and I wonder how. Well, it's all divine. Everything is.
It is absolutely.
And your name's not on the bullet because you had a job to do. So
yep.
So you started making these rings, like these things, these carbon patterns. How did those patterns come through? Because when I met you, you did a drawing for me of my frequency, didn't you?
Yeah.
And then I ran the pendulum over it, and it was doing all sorts of things. Do you want to explain?
So with the so I had a business before that was doing the same thing with another business partner, and we delved deep into the workings of sacred geometry and everything, and realised that most geometry out there, if not all, is in the what myself and Joe call now like the non-organic template. It's going the wrong way, basically. It's serving the non-organic source. So the only one that was true was the Taurus field. So when you look in all the spiritual community with your Metatron's cube and the flower of life and all that kind of stuff, they serve the purpose to a certain extent in this 3D realm. And you know, I did work with a Metatron's cube for a long time when I made pendants and stuff, and the results that I got from them were amazing. But it was only going to get people so far, and then we're never actually going to truly thrive.
I call those limited hangouts.
Yes, that's a good way of explaining it.
And it's interesting you say Metatron's cube, because I lived in Marrakesh for 4 years, and the whole city of Marrakesh is built on Metatron's cube.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah, and the flower of life's also interesting because that's been hijacked.
Yeah.
The way, and I'm seeing a lot of healing modalities that do similar things, which are also hijacked. And they do it. I completely concur with what you're saying, because they do something for a short period of time and then fizzles out, which is the controlled demolition aspect. That pattern is in everything that they do and how we can't see it. So this idea of the organic matrix and the 3D matrix is really powerful, and something that I think people watching will want to get their heads around if you want to dive into it a little bit more.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
Go on, sorry. Go on.
I was just going to say, so imagine that we are just perceiving ourselves here now. You know, we're watching a movie, projecting the movie that we're watching, although it feels very real. How you think to yourself, well, how can I see that bit compared with my hair, and why is it different? It's got to be within, say, different sectors or little pieces of information, which if you know what a pixel is, you also know what a voxel is, because a voxel is a 3D version. But I just want to talk about the square and the pixel just for the moment, because
most people won't know that.
Okay, so
most people know pixels because of screens.
That's right. But imagine if you want to translate that to 3D and you want it depth. A voxel is a 3D pixel, so it's cubed. So like in 3D printing, they'll do the length, the width, and the height to be able to show where each particular dot is within, you know, a cube structure. And I think that's the trick, really, and the reason why there's many of these geometries out there, because if we're existing within a framework of a cube, we will resonate. Even though you put the same frequency in, it will sound different. And this is what they've done. They've put us in a box instead of in a cathedral.
Right.
And we're
So that relates to the cube of Saturn, right?
Yes.
And the cube of Saturn is the same as the cube in the one that the Muslims go around. I can't remember what it's called. Yeah. And outside every big bank in the world, you'll see a cube somewhere, a big black cube. You'll see the cube on the head of certain religions. You'll see this everywhere. So this cube is, and a cube in 3D is it's a different pattern, but it's there. And
I'll tell you something else, Mark, that's going to blow your mind. Guess what other structure forms squares, cubes as a crystal? It's diamonds.
Which is carbon.
Yeah, well, carbon can form many different structures, and this is the building blocks, the matrix within which the frequencies exist. So you can have the same frequency within a different matrix and shape. And I'm saying that the artificial template or AI matrix grid, whatever you want to call it. And the reason why they're everywhere is because they're making these frequencies resonate within this cubic shape. And every time when you put a diamond ring on, diamonds resonate in this cubic shape, whereas quartz crystal resonates in like a hexagonal shape. That's why it's exactly the same as water. That's why it's called hexagonal water.
So it's like digital versus analog.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
We're both signals exist. You know, I remember when Tony Blair came, we're going to digitize everywhere, and he put up all the fucking masks around the UK in the 2000s, and I knew instinctively that was going to be not good, because these digital, TV and everything else started coming in instead of the analog, which is nature, which is scalar waves. It's riding nature and all of that, and that information is coming on those beautiful natural waves and then replacing that with this digital stuff. And there's a couple of other things that pop into my head.
Are you spiritually protected? Are you wearing the armor of God? Are you prepared against the principalities of darkness that currently wreak havoc in our world? Spiritual warfare is a very real thing. Weapons of Mass Protection is the explosive and practical 5-star best-selling book from authors Abby Wynn and Mark Atwood, who both agree that humanity is in the midst of the biggest spiritual awakening in human history. If you feel like things ain't what they seem, if you feel you are under attack, get your weapons ready now. Weapons of Mass Protection. Practical tools for spiritual warfare. Out now.
Have you ever seen Gina Marie Colvin Hill YouTube channel? She's a woman in America who's I like a lot, and she looks through these CCTV cameras all over the world and has seen all sorts of stuff, including like glitches in the sky when you see these black cubes. This is like 3 or 4 years ago, just appearing in the sky. And in my own personal experiences, like 15, 12 years ago, I remember going into the office one day, and this is not directly related to the cubes, but this is to do with the nature of the matrix, right? Because I came into work one day, and there was one particular guy that worked for me who was about 6'5" tall, very tall lad, and he literally he just went out of focus. It was really bizarre. And I was like, God, Craig, you're out of focus. And he was like, what do you mean I'm out of focus? I said, you literally just him. Everything else was in focus except him. This is when I started to realize there's something going on. But there's a question I want to ask around your understanding of this, because I was watching an interesting video this morning from a Dutch chap called David. I can't remember his surname. And he was talking about the idea that this is something I want to explore more myself. It's very glib and easy to say this is just the matrix, it's all being projected, and even if wherever it's coming from, in a way, having that idea kind of detaches us from divinity in some way. My take on that is that everything's within divinity, but there is this false matrix within it. But if we don't realize that there's this organic, as you call it, the organic, what do you call it, the organic grid?
Yeah, the template grid, the organic source of information,
Yeah, because that's here at the same time.
Yes.
At the same time, yeah.
Do you know what, Mark? I feel this is what duality is.
Yeah.
We're all taught to accept duality. I think there's basically, you're a Wi-Fi router, you can send and receive information. Where are you going to plug your source of information into?
Well, your brain, I've been saying for years, your brain is a transceiver, which means it transmits and receives. When it comes to the law of attraction, which I've taught for years, you're transmitting information, which is why you've got to watch your thoughts. But then to complicate things, the thoughts coming into your head are coming from two sources, the devil and God. And then you've got to learn to differentiate between those two in order to create to connect to what you call the organic template grid. And in 5D, whatever you want to call it, Age of Aquarius, the manifesting that we've been doing before now has been using this as a tool, but really it's got to come from the heart now, which is when you're connecting to that grid, right?
100%, and beautifully put. So your brain,
I don't even know where that came from. I've never said it.
So your brain is a computer, It just is receiving information in the form of hydrogen and oxygen. Hydrogen is the latitudinal waves. Oxygen is the longitudinal waves, and they're within this grid, this matrix, and this is why you can choose what you're tuning into. So your DNA is actually scalar waves. It's actually water. It's plasma water. So a lot of people's learnt behavior and personalities is actually coming from their DNA. This is why twins separated at birth will go off and they might meet each other 60 years later. They've got the same hairstyle, they're walking the same, they talk the same. It's because some of this can be embedded in our DNA, and this can be passed on from generations. It's also can be your junk DNA, which isn't JUNK, which people think it is. It's JNK, which stands for Jun N kinase. That's what that means.
Oh, don't do that. Don't do those long words.
That's programmable, and trauma programs DNA so that you don't keep, you don't run away from the bear the second time away. Oh, is that friendly? You just leg it the second time. And this is where trauma-based mind control is, because your DNA, as we know, they've proven this, can store, I think one drop can store gigabytes of data. And the way that you get it in, well, your DNA doesn't want to be programmed all the time, does it? It's programs when it's triggered, when it's traumatized. And that's what mind control is.
Well, let's just rewind a little bit there. So this idea of the information being in the DNA is kind of related to Rupert Sheldrake's morphic resonance field, which if you guys haven't watched, go and look at it. It's one of the 2 banned TED Talks from 2012, along with Graham Hancock's War on Consciousness, which are well worth watching. The second aspect to that is I've been taught, when I was on tour in America, I said there's not 97% junk DNA. Who believes that? I mean, it's like that's what they teach kids in school. How do we believe that for 1 second when we look at ourselves? How can we be 97% junk? So I've never heard that JNK thing before. That's really interesting. Just say that long word again.
So it's JC
Sorry, Joe.
JN kinase. It's got a C in there, and now I've said it a million times. I can't. But it actually stands for something. Look for JNK, not JUNK, because it's actually it's a C John end terminals kinase. Is a type of DNA. And when you look at epigenetics, this is where it is affecting. So there's various things in epigenetics, which is, and even so on my first degrees in genetics, we were always taught it's 80% environment, because your environment affects which genes and how you express your genes. So they knew it, but they just don't talk about it very much. So yeah.
Which is a very common theme in all of mainstream science.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Give you a little bit. Don't worry about that.
Don't finish the story.
Yeah, and then lock that in so that you become invested in that for the rest of your career. But because you've got a white coat and letters after your name, letters before your name, everybody listens to you, and it just traps everybody else. It's like the sheep, it's like a sheepdog, isn't it? You only need one to influence hundreds of thousands of people, and then everybody's locked into this incorrect place that we want to get out of, right?
Completely. And their jobs depend on it, especially scientists, because people don't get tenures very easily. And so effectively, you can't research what the government doesn't want you to research, otherwise you don't get paid. And you don't get paid if you don't publish what they want to read. And so that's how the science system works. And that's why I got out of it, and I've been learning beyond that to help people heal and detox and everything like that. And this is where we've learned that actually things are, you can change, you can change your environment, but you have to understand how you work, and then you can understand how you can change it. So this is where trauma therapy, why it's very important to remove the traumas from your body, because really you're removing the programs, because these thoughts you're having, you don't create thoughts, you're reading what's in your DNA. So get rid of those so that you get rid of the chatter. And then you can start actively putting things in your biofield. And this is where me and Kelly then can come in, and we can transform the water to put information in your water, which of course you can do yourself by your thought processes. The idea here, the reason why we've created these products, because People find it difficult to do that. They find it difficult to quiet their mind. They're holding water, trying to hold on to something, but they're not quite transforming the water in the way that they want to because their head's full of chatter and they don't quite know how to do it. We will get to that stage where everybody knows how to do this easily, and we're doing workshops to teach people how to do this. However, in the meantime, we've brought down some of these amazing codes which will resonate with your own source frequency because you have all the codes inside you. It makes your auric field massive, and then you will start resonating at those frequencies without even thinking about it. And then what we found is our mission really is to transform human consciousness, protect people, make people healthy. And really what we're doing is getting them just to resonate at the brilliant frequency that they're already at. And we can prove that today. Maybe you could show a video of how to, one of our shields protects the biofield or the cucumber experiment. What we can do is more than that. We're going to do a live experiment.
Yeah, let's find. Let's have a look at the cucumber thing first. I think I've got the right. Yeah, here we go. This one.
Yes.
Okay, here we go.
Whoa! How did that happen?
Cucumber experiment 2.0. And I'm going to cut it now. This has been growing for 3 months. Ready for our next experiment.
This is a store-bought cucumber though, right? So we're taking it out the packet, ready to test it against the one in the garden. It's an experiment measuring the life force energy of a store-bought organic cucumber versus a homegrown organic cucumber. Yeah. Yeah, the rods just won't settle. It tells you it's got a very small, weak field. Whoa, check that field out. The rods are being pushed back because the field is big. This disc has frequencies embedded that are a high frequency, and it boosts your aura. So you can measure it here. If you just watch what's going, look at that field, fly back again, just like the cucumber. So we get the store-bought cucumber with the weak field, we place it on just for a few seconds, and that transforms the water inside the cucumber. Check this out. Remember what it's like before? Yeah. It's massive again. Can you see? Whoa, check that out. If you've got more ideas about how to test this, let us know. Better still, send in your videos.
Brilliant.
So that's what we're doing with people and all over the summer.
Well, no, you did it to me.
I did it to you. We did it to you.
That's we did, didn't we?
Yeah, in person. And if you're watching and you come into the Harry event, they'll do it for you then as well, won't you?
Yes. Yes, we 100% will. Yes.
It'll be a whole day about water, really, and how that affects us, which is brilliant.
Yeah, amazing.
We'll bring lots of rods and we'll show people how to do it. Like we've got some workshops next year. If you look on our website, there's more videos. We've done seed germination videos. There's loads of videos I haven't put up yet because we're getting other people to test this as well. Obviously, this isn't just our word. And really, we want people to know for themselves, which is why we're going to do this experiment in a little bit. And so people can see. But just to show, these are the Biofield Defence Shields. When you put these on your phone, your field, because it's resonated with your frequency, completely harmonizes the harmful EMF frequencies. I'll explain what we mean by that. And your field will grow as if you're grounded. Because we're mothers, right? We understand about grounding. I've been trying to find a shortcut to how to ground without getting my feet wet for a long time. And that's how to do it, basically, because we're on laminate floors, we've got socks on with polyester in, and we're not grounding. So we all know the benefits of grounding. We're changing the charge of the hydrogen ions. That's really what we're doing.
Well, yeah, I mean, one of my earliest shows was all about grounding and grounding bed sheets, which I've got, and grounding mats. And we used grounding stuff in the clinic as well. And it's just and the first thing, when I'm in the clinic, the first thing I say to people is, what water do you drink? What water do you do washing? Do you stand barefoot on the grass for at least 10 minutes every day? You know, that's just like basic stuff.
Yeah.
If you get those things right, you're away to the races. Just two quick questions for the skeptics watching. Mm-hmm. Firstly, I'll ask the questions both at the same time, and then you can give me an answer. What's the difference between that thing that you're showing us and the other EMF protection things that people buy on Amazon and places like that. Second question is, you're doing it with the rods, which most of my audience probably already have rods and do everything with rods and dowsing anyway. But anybody watching this who's like, well, that's not scientific. Where's the scientific beep, beep, beep machine? Is there any other way of measuring that stuff?
Well, I don't think gas engineers and water engineers would tell you that that is voodoo, because they prefer using these. And in fact, you'll see in The Guardian, there's an article saying, what, even though it's been disproven, why are the water engineers using these rods? It's like, oh yeah, because they're just wasting their time every day.
That's the funny thing. I've met a few professional diviners that get called onto big building sites.
Yeah, they do.
They're the first people they call.
Yeah.
And then they just let's pretend that didn't happen.
It doesn't work. Yeah.
They're secretly brought in.
We've used the bio well as well, haven't we? So the bio well, something that you put your hands in a machine that's connected to the computer, and it shows you the energy that's in every part of the body and the organs. So we've done. Pardon?
What's that called?
It's called the bio well.
Where do I get one of them?
Biowell.com.
Yeah, biowell.com. Yeah, you can.
I heard of that before. You
put your hand in and it measures the life force energy that's coming from all the meridians. So we tested it on, was it me? Yeah, it was me. So I tested it on me when I was holding the shield and without, and the readings were a lot more balanced. So you kind of like the kidney function might be a bit high, or the liver might be a bit high. So then you do, I think we did it with the water, didn't we, Joe?
Yes, so we also did it, and we had 10 people come to our event, so we measured everyone's biofield. What we're seeing is a balancing out of their energy. So it uses a digital version of Kirlian photography.
That's it.
Yeah.
So we're always trying to find different ways to be able to, obviously, to satisfy the skeptics, because you're always going to get them. And we've done the fenugreek seed growing experiment, basil growing experiment, and we're open to lots of other weird and wonderful experiments.
Well, I do find the plants are a brilliant way of showing this stuff. I mean, I've done that. I've done that with Orgonite. I've done it with lots of different things. And also, anybody watching this, they probably already watched it, but Masuri Emoto proves that, just you can change the energy of water with your own frequency and your own emotions, right? So, yeah, it's brilliant. Okay, so where are we going next?
Shall we do an experiment?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay then, guys. So if you've got a pendulum.
Shall I do this with you?
Yes, please. You can do it with us.
And Kelly's going to take over. So, but let me just show you, so I can just show you where I am.
So when I was talking about the frequencies earlier, I'm just going to give you an example of what they actually look like.
Yeah.
Okay, so.
Whose is that? Is that love?
That's love, that is. And this is just an example, but we're not going to use this one today. What we're going to do is I've got another frequency that is for calm, sleep and relax. But what I've actually done is embedded it into my water already. So what I want you to do first is just to check with the pendulum the rotation or the energy of what's coming through the water. I know you've got really good water anyway, haven't you, Mark?
Well, it's pretty good.
Yeah.
I've got quite a strong...
so Joe does a really good way of dowsing with the pendulum, actually. She brings it actually into the field.
Yeah, no, I saw that. We did that.
Yeah, so you kind of bring it in like that, so you can really subtly feel the field of the water.
You'll feel like a little bit of a resistance.
What am I doing? I'm bringing the pendulum in towards the water, yeah?
Yeah. So just
feel a bit
feel
of
the simple energy.
I can feel it from here.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's good.
So I've got tap water. I've got tap water and the field's about here, but we don't know which way it's going. We don't know whether it's going, which way the hydrogen iron's spinning, whether it's going clockwise, which is a negative ion, which is what we want, or anti-clockwise. So I'll move it into the middle. And you won't be able to see my hand, but I've done videos about this. And I'm just waiting to see which direction this is going to spin. There we go. And as it picks up the field, so imagine there's a vortex here. The trick to this is to not spin it, but also don't stop it. Some people hold their pendulum, and then because they're trying to stop it, with their hands subtly, they'll stop the spin. Feel it, practice it, it's going to go. If you see this actually direction of this field, it's kind of circular, but it's not quite circular. It's kind of elliptical. It's a bit of a weird shape. So and yours is going around very nicely because that's your charged up water.
Well, this is water from the tap, but my tap goes through a whole house filter, then it goes through a grander device, then it goes through a reverse osmosis device, and then it gets filled with hydrogen.
Okay, exactly.
So this is really powerful. I mean, it's swinging around like nobody's business.
That's exactly. Yeah. So all the hydrogen ions in that are all spinning the clockwise direction, and that's why. Yeah, try. Yeah, well, that's a good idea.
Because I've never done this with. Whoa! This chi water is amazing. Oh, God Almighty! You can't really see that on the screen, but I can feel it. Sorry, go on. Carry on talking.
No, carry on. There we go. And it's going around clockwise. That's nice.
I'm buzzing off this.
Brilliant.
So what we'll do now, all I'm going to do is hold up this glass of charged up water to the screen. And I want to see if it alters your water, Joe's, and whoever's watching this.
Yeah, so everybody should be trying this at home. Yeah.
Yep.
So if you're at home, just pause the video after I finish speaking. We've finished speaking. Go and get. What do you want them to go and get? Just
a glass of water and a pendulum or a necklace.
I would say get if you want to see the difference, choose tap water because my tap water is going anti-clockwise. This is the most dramatic. If you've already got charged up water, it can make the field bigger, but the best get crap water.
Get some crap water if you can, and then just to see the difference when we do that. Okay. So pause. Go and get all that. If they've not got a pendulum, what can they use? Just
use a necklace or a ring on some string or something.
Okay, cool. Yeah. So I assume everybody's back now. So let's carry on.
All right. So I'm just going to hold this glass of water up to the screen, and then I want you to do the same test again after about 10 seconds, 20 seconds, and see if you can feel a difference. All right.
Ooh.
So for those quantum physics nerds out there, we are embedding scalar waves, which are created in water.
So if you're very energy sensitive, you might be able to feel it.
I can feel it.
Can you?
Yeah.
My fingers are tingling.
Okay, so do the same thing again by bringing the pendulum in and see if you can feel the difference.
Because sometimes the field might feel the same or it might be different.
Well, this
direction it's spinning.
This one I've got here was less strong than that one, so I'm going to do this one.
It's like
it's
Oh my gosh!
Yeah, you can feel it pushing. It's pushing it back.
Yeah,
it's beautiful. So
it's
then
really
whoa, that's a big,
Mine's going clockwise, Kelly.
Oh wow, it's really much bigger.
Yeah, you can feel that as well. Mine felt like a brick wall that time.
Yeah, it's really strong. And this one's spinning faster, and woo!
Just gonna hold my hand.
That's amazing. Look at that.
So I don't move my hand. I'm waiting for it to, and it gathers speed, right? Because it's a toroidal field.
This one's going anti-clockwise. Hang on.
That's going clockwise, isn't it?
Do that again. That's where I can feel it there.
You might have, you see, this is sort of experiments we've been doing. Sometimes the water has more than one field.
Yeah, it's vibrating.
And by the way, these crystals is
now it's going clockwise.
Yeah. This is a copper pendulum. I like these because they've got no stuck energy to them. Crystals can have stuck energy, which is influencing the results of it.
No, it's flying the other way. That is interesting. I need to get one of those.
We have more than one
use that now. Sorry, Joe. Go on.
I was going to say, so if you've already got a field inside the water, because that's already been put in there, I have seen it have more than one field. You have the field that we've just put in, and it's still got the field of whatever's in before. So it depends.
So what do you do about that then? If you've got so let's just rewind a little bit. So if we're doing this with bad water, like you said, does this transform that water?
Yes. Yes.
Or what about, people are going to say, what about the fluoride? What about this chlorine?
Doesn't get rid of that.
It doesn't get rid of that.
No,
Yeah,
it's
that's
not
what I
going
mean.
to get rid of the actual nasties that are in the water. But what
Yeah.
it's going to do is put the correct frequency in there. But it won't get rid of all the horrible bits.
So it's important to have clean water.
It's important to have clean water. But if you can't have clean water, then this is better than nothing.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. There's layers to this, isn't there?
There's many layers to it.
And layers
so what you can use with that water now, what you can do with that water is you can if you take a sip of it now, actually, and let's see if you feel a difference in your energy. You might feel your stomach start to like the energy of it.
It's good shit.
It doesn't taste as chlorine-y, so I don't usually drink tap water.
Well, mine's clean.
Yeah.
But energetically, I'm very tuned to the energy of the water, because I've been, if somebody gave, if I go to a restaurant and they give you the water, I'm like, I won't drink it, but occasionally I'll just go and, oh my God.
Yeah,
it's such a alien thing to me now.
Yeah,
I won't near it.
Well, do you know what we do? You know what we do if you have to, like, we were there with the team, weren't we? And we transformed the water. So I got a nice bottle of I can't remember, mineral water type stuff, but it's still synthetic. And so I carry a bottle of spray with it in, if I've got it in here. So when we go somewhere, I've got this quantum water charger on here. If I'm going to eat food, or even the food at home, spray it, changed it. That's it. It's all you need to do. We're working on the quantum level. This is like really, once you understand how easy this is to do, you can change things. But the special thing I think about the frequency, perhaps we should talk about, Kelly, is a frequency lock.
Oh yeah, the lock.
Yeah, the frequency lock. So as I was doing this work, it really bothered me when before I met Joe, that I would send bottles of water out to people, and I was really concerned that the frequency would change as it would get to the people going through post, etc. So I was in the garden one day, and this is quite an amazing story, Mark. I was just doing some writing. I think I was doing a reading on myself and just asking questions and things like that, and all this information was coming through. And it was said, you need to create a frequency lock. I'm like, right, so how do I do that? It's like, go into the garden and you need to build something. I'm like, right, okay. So all I needed to do was a bit of electroculture thing, but I had to wrap it around the copper wire around 4 pillars and then 1 in the middle. And it says, make sure that the twirly bit at the end is long. And any negative entities or astral travelers or anything that's trying to watch me won't be able to get into this kind of this force field type thing. I thought, this is just right out of a movie. Great. So I sat down and I brought through all this information about, this is the lock. You can't keep it in the house. It's got to be in a metal box in the garden. Don't bring it in the house. Still out there today. And it says now that frequency will be embedded into your DNA, but you just got to keep the paper's got to be in this metal box. So what I did, I put it in like a crystal wand at first, because I couldn't quite comprehend that it was going to be in my DNA. I thought, I don't get that. So I put it in this crystal wand, and every product that I made at the time, I used to touch it to lock it, but I didn't need to. So when I was starting to do my writing again, the frequency would draw just like that, and then my pen would stop, and then it would do this lock. And when I asked what that was, it says it's the language of the one infinite creator that flows through everything. It has no beginning and it has no end. And every frequency this is on, it will lock it in that moment in time, and then it will never be the same ever again. But it just locks that moment in time, and then that's it. It's sealed. So I said, you can use this in your products now. I was like, right, okay.
Which is the shields you did 4.5 years ago that are still on people's phones.
They're still working out, and I made them on my desk in my kitchen, made them, and they still work perfectly.
Whereas, just to answer your question you said previously, Mark, when we've measured all other devices out there, they only, if they work at all, they only work for a day or two, and then they stop working. So we've measured now I don't know, maybe about 40 or 50 different types of these stickers. You can get them off Temu for 69p. People will then put them in a nice fancy EMF protection, like, bracket, and they think they're buying it, but they're not. They're just buying a sticker, which is geometry. They're using the wrong geometry, which Kelly's research has proven, and there's no frequency lock. And that's why they're not working. And that's why we demonstrated to, oh my gosh, over the summer must have been at least 200 people measuring their biofield. But more than that, once your biofield is big, I'm not just interacting with me here, I'm interacting with my next door neighbours and the people over the road. So when I put positive things in my field, this is why people come up to me, dogs come up to me, and people say, oh yeah, hey Joe. And I'm like, what's different about me? I'm now a magnetic personality, right? Because I've put that information in my field, and instead of my field being destroyed, which is what it used to happen, holding a mobile phone, it's now reaching people. And that's why people make a beeline for me.
Well,
Exactly.
this is a great another step towards this greater understanding, and I've really enjoyed it, and I'm looking forward to seeing you in about a week and a half. Is it?
Yeah.
I think it is. God, where's the time going?
Yeah, we need to arrange it.
But we're out of time today. I've got so much to do, but it's been absolutely brilliant talking to both of you. Sorry it's taken so long to get it recorded and everything else, but it's been a real pleasure, and we'll do a follow up on this, and we'll chat to you more when you're over in Boyle, and we'll do an episode in the shop and with Harry and all of that. That'll be fun. So I'm really looking forward to seeing you then. Thanks for sharing all of that.
Thank you so much, Mark. Really
My
appreciate
pleasure.
it.
Mark, I really, really appreciate it. And we're looking forward to seeing you and giving you a big hug.
Yeah, well, that'd be nice. And we're going to put just a reminder to the viewers, there's a link underneath. It's crystalwaterexperience.com. If you get anything from that website, use the code MarkAtwood20, all one word. You get 20% off. And thanks for doing that. Thanks for coming on. Enjoy the rest of your day. I'll see you soon.
Thank you, mate.
Mark. Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.